Hi everybody, welcome. Today we are here to talk to you about our trip to Hyrox Manchester, or
Hyrox Man.
Hyrox Man, yeah, not one for the feminists, is it? So tomorrow we're going to go and we're going to take part in the mixed doubles event. As of right now, the day one is taking place, and all the sort of the men and the pro women and the pro men, they're all sort of at it right now. At Hyrox right now. And so we're sort of anxiously waiting for our go tomorrow. So this is my 8th Hyrox, my first time at mixed doubles, but my 8th, and it's Holly's first, sort of her introduction. She's been to every Hyrox I've been to, but always on the other side of the fence and the other side of the camera. So the story about how we're going to the event and why Holly is sitting here is a bit of a funny one. Up until now, Holly has always said that she didn't want to do a Hyrox. A bit of an OCR girl. She just didn't like the idea of Hyrox. She didn't like the idea of competitive exercise that you paid for. So obviously, as any good husband would, I secretly bought her a ticket and kept it a secret from her. And simultaneously, my friend James bought one for his fiancée and also kept it a secret from her. And we took the pair of them out and got them drunk. And after we shoehorned into the conversation, sort of a hypothetical question, would you ever do a Hyrox? As soon as we got a positive answer, we slapped down the tickets, the very real tickets, onto the table and said, there you go. So how are we feeling right now? Day one's in progress. Do you feel like I feel, like the FOMO thing?
Yeah, definitely starting to feel like I want to just be there. I want to be involved in it all. Like, I hate this waiting around, and we've got to wait around until 5 o'clock tomorrow as well. So it's kind of taking some time to just drive there, just to kill part of the day, and then just milling around really, watching everything and trying not to get too worked up. And
I've always wanted to do one with Holly, since she's always pretty much trained the same way and the same stuff I have anyway.
And hopefully we'll come out the other end stronger.
Well, yeah, mentally or physically.
As a couple.
Or emotionally. I got you.
Working together, teamwork.
Yeah, so I hopefully won't need any therapy after. Okay, there isn't anything else to say. We're just going to go down to site to us that are there tomorrow. All right. And we are here at the Manchester Convention Centre. Yeah, nice drive in. We're about to go get registered. Get to see the women race because it's the Sunday, the second day. Normally I'm there at the first day, get to watch the men racing. So today it'll be a little bit different. And then after that we'll get ready, get warmed up and go.
Go time.
Go time, yeah. Part of the process. That's your prisoner number. Okay, so this is part of the video where we take a little look at our race day footage from Hyrox Manchester Mixed Doubles. We were very lucky that we got someone to film from the sort of sidelines, and also I took a little camera around with me strapped to my headband. So we've got two different styles of filming that I've spliced together into and consolidated it down. Holly chose the outfits for this particular outing. It made sense since, you know, it's her first time and all. And I thought it would be hard to beat how pink I was at Hyrox London, since my shoes, socks, headband and sweatband were all pink. But she found one way to make that pinker, and that was with these. Yeah. And these weren't sourced from, say, the men's department, no, or the women's department. No, these particular shorts were sourced from the Sports Direct Kids department. That's right, these are intended for kids. Anyway, head to toe marshmallow, that's what we are wearing in this one, and we're quite easy to see from a video perspective, quite easy to see. Anyway, enough about that, let's get on with the video. Okay, so we are just entering the start arch. Bit of nerves from Holly there as we sort of enter. It's all a bit different when you're inside the start arch yourself.
Hyrox Manchester Mixed Doubles 2024, let's go!
We're into the 10-second countdown. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now everyone is like a coiled spring at this point, and we just sort of erupt out the start arch and around the corner. A column of people moving that fast into what is already a very busy running track. It is sort of wall-to-wall people at that point. It was crazy. I got sort of separated, sort of ricocheted off a few people at that point, and sort of had to weave my way back up to Holly. And I sort of ran alongside her. I needed her sort of in front of me for the head cam to sort of keep her in view. But sort of over a few laps, she started to sort of tuck in behind me and let me pace her. Though I couldn't keep an eye on her that way. I kind of needed her in front of me. I needed her to sort of take the lead, but I think she likes being paced. So yeah, I sort of kept her in view at this point, and we were sort of mostly side by side, and we were sort of winging our way round. It's very easy to go off too fast on this first lap, and this is the first time in through the arch. We passed that arch 3 times, and then we were heading towards station 1, the ski erg. Now we were sort of ushered in and sent down to sort of the right hand side there. You sort of jump on and start pulling almost immediately. I sort of grabbed, if you look at mine, the sort of handles are all on the piss and they're sort of facing the wrong way, so I immediately got it in the backwards in my hand. But I've already started pulling, so I had to sort of shuffle it around as we went. Looking down at the clock here, and I'm pulling at sub 140 at this point, and I know that's a little bit too fast. And so the way we decided to split this particular station, the strategy we came up with is that I would do the first bit and I would do the last bit and leave the middle bit to Holly. That means dividing 1,000 into 3, so to the 350 metre bit each or thereabouts. So my aim was to get to 350 metres in this first stint as fast as possible. I wanted to stay below 150. That's what I did for the most part, between 140 and 150. I didn't want to burn out. I knew I had a second go. So as soon as I was done, Holly jumps on. I jump onto my little player 2 mat, partner mat, and then she has a go at pull it. Now it's always worth pointing out at this point that other people will enter that station and probably go faster than you. It's about finding what pace works for you without compromising your next run, because your next run takes you into a couple of evil stations such as the sleds. On my second go, I was trying to once again tried to keep it below 150. As I started to come toward the end of that, it was inevitably slowing down, but overall it was about a 348 pull, and then with a little bit of running in and out, it came to about 355, I think, or something like that when we left. So back out onto the running track, 3 more laps, boom, and straight back in for the sled push, which is station 2. There it is, through the arch. We're running all the way down to sort of where the fastest in our wave are. I think there was like 4 or 5 sort of couples ahead of us at that point. That was fine. And I immediately get on this sled and start like a freight train. I think I'm across this in less than 30 seconds, no problem. This is, like I've touched on in the past, the sleds can sometimes feel really difficult. They felt actually okay at this particular event. I had no quibble with the sled at this event, okay? So the way I did this, I went first, I let Holly do the entire second lap, then I pushed it for half of the next lap, because I didn't want her only to have done 1 lap. It doesn't feel like she'd had enough, so I made the decision that on this lap I would stop halfway and let her have a go. So that's what I did. I said, there you go, have another push. So she pushed it the second half of lap 3, knowing that I then could commit everything to the 4th and final lap, knowing that she has had a little bit of time, not a huge amount of time, a little bit of time after that last push just to catch her breath. It's very easy to sort of come off this breathless and with wobbly legs. So yeah, I sort of steamrolled it all the way back down to the bottom again, and sort of over the line, and then we're good to go. I always find it quite important that we get running almost immediately after sleds, because we waste so much time walking up this particular bit. I saw so many people when I was spectating walking up this after the sleds. It hurts you, it wounds you, your legs are like jelly. And then we're back onto the track, 3 more laps once again, and back through the arch for station 3, the sled pull. And the sled pull feels it's a bit tricky after the sled push, it is. you can lose a lot of time here if you're not careful. You would think it's all sort of arms, and for people like me it's more arms than legs, but for a lot of people it's legs. There's a lot of legs, a lot of walking the way back. Now as we approach the station, there's a couple in front of me, it got split up because they were having to go on the bucket. The lady then got told she couldn't pull until her partner was there. Me and Holly were pulling again in the same order as Sled. So what I did, I pulled the first lap completely as fast as possible, hand over hand technique, got it to the end. Holly has got her hands on her face because she's already overheating. Now this is where it starts. Holly was struggling with the heat and the humidity and exercising in that heat already by station 3. This affects a lot of people, and this is where this desire to get to the water station starts to creep in. It doesn't bother me that much, but it was starting to get to Holly. So I handed over after 1.5 laps, and she starts to pull. You notice the difference almost immediately in strength and body weight. She has to resort to the pullback, which, bearing in mind this is the pro ladies weight, so that's no insult to her. And this is her first time, so she's pulling the heaviest weight she can at Hyrox.
Steady box.
So she gets it over. I think she's done about 1.5 runs at this point, and I'm going to finish it off doing the last bit, sort of as fast as I can. I switch back to hand over hand for a sort of a turbo finish. Notice that she's starting to get gassed, and the temperature is starting to get to her at this point, as it does a lot of people. So that's it. So 4 lengths of that's 50 metres done, and we sort of rejoin some of the faster mixed doubles as we exit there. Now, these two guys in front of us, this is Ella and James, and these were at the same pub as myself and Holly when we gave the secret tickets for this event. Ella also got a secret ticket. It was a good night. So on to station 4, the Burpee broad jumps. Now the reason why I didn't have any footage of us sort of entering this was because I had a bit of brain fuzz leading into this main arch. I hadn't miscounted, I just forgot to count, and I passed the screen too quickly to see my own name appear on it. When there's that many people running around and going over those mats, the names go down that screen really quickly. Now, burpees is one of those exercises that I've improved a lot on, certainly since this year. I've sort of mastered the little bunny hop technique. It strains my back a lot less, and I get a lot further a lot quicker. It is quite devastating on your cardio. It's something you sort of need to practice, sort of down. You never fully come up, that's the key. Always stay low, keep your hands below your heart, and just sort of touch your fingers on the ground so you know where your hands are going and kick your feet back. I very much enjoyed that one. So this is coming out of the burpees. Now this signifies for me the halfway point in any race when you pop out of burpees. This time round the go fast track is on the inside rather than the outside, which is a bit of a pain when you're trying to come out of the arch and go into the in arch. So you end up cutting people up and people end up cutting you up and stuff. Right, coming into row 5. This one is a bit of a funny one, and I'll tell you why in a second. We get put onto our rower, so Holly is going on this one first. We've not divided this up in the same way as the others. We've just said Holly will do 400 and I'll do 600. We didn't want to mess around with too many transitions because it wastes a lot of time. We'd rather go a little bit slower and just not do those transitions. So Holly's first 400, She does it in sub 2 minute 500s. She comes off and she's blowing hard, and she's trying to sucking oxygen at this point, and I think she's spent a little bit. Now what I hadn't noticed this was happening behind me because I was busy doing my stint on the rower, but she starts to get a bit dizzy and lightheaded. She's overheating. It's just that overwhelming sensation, and down she goes. Holly needed just a second, so she just sat down and had a rest while I proceeded to row the 600. And I did this in about, I can see my clock there, it looks like I'm doing it in 147 to 150 at that point. And I tried to keep it sub 150 for the most part. I think it slows down again towards the end, as often they do. This is another one of those exercises where you don't want to blow out, because you come off this and you know that your legs are destroyed almost immediately. And that's from experience. I know that. See, from my perspective, I can't tell that Holly's collapsed in a heap behind me. But when I actually get off the rower, she's sort of composed herself a little bit, and as we walk out, she tells me, she whispers in my ear that she's feeling dizzy, she's struggling. I said to her at that point, just get me to the farmers. All I needed for her to do was to get round this particular run, and I said I was fully prepared to do all of the farmers for her. So we went into this, we were going to let Holly have the first go on farmers, but in that run-in we sort of adapted our plan a little bit, knowing that she was struggling. All she had to do was tell me that she was dizzy, and I was really concerned for her, but I didn't want her to throw away the race. I would try and just take as much off her plate as possible. So we approached the farmers. There's the 2 buckets of chalk. Nice quick go on your hands, and then you go and pick your respective weights up. For us, it's the 24 kilograms in the middle, the grey ones. It's very much a case of grabbing them straight into the arch and get moving as fast as possible. So once I'd overtaken this other couple and just legged it down here, I can't run the entire thing. I do my best. I think I can run about half of it normally when I'm doing sort of men's opens, this sort of speed, and then eventually it reduces to a walk before long. Now at the end of the second run, I said to Holly, do you want to go? And she said yes. So I put the weights down, and here she goes. I think she's got her eye back in. I think she's over her sort of dizzy spell. She's still really overheating, you can just tell, but she gave 2 full runs on the 24 kilos. You can tell that she's practiced this, because you can just look at her sort of frame, her build. As we got to about here, and I only had 1 run left, so I thought I would just drop the hammer and sprint it as fast as humanly possible. So fast that I left Holly behind. Didn't mean to. And we got quite a good time on that. Once I got over that mat, and I had to by the time I sort of found where to put the kettles down, Holly sort of popped out. I think she had a quick drink at that point just to sort of recover. And now we're sort of out on run 7. So yeah, this is the penultimate run. Quick bit of the running track, and then we are into sandbag lunges. Now, what I found was a bit gross is that the first few sandbags all looked soaking wet, because they're the ones that people kept putting down and picking up, and I picked this sandbag up and put it on my back, and it was gross. You could smell it, I could feel the water, the sweat in it. It was disgusting. I immediately started lunging out. I wanted to try and get as far as possible with strides like this, and I managed sort of to get all the way to the other end without no bother, but it felt like a logical place to swap, since I could pass the bag over easier in that end zone. Now remember, you can't put your sandbag down. It's very naughty to put your sandbag down, and you get penalised if you do that, so just be very careful. Even in those marked off areas at the end, do not put your sandbag down, okay? So I let Holly have a go. She seemed to be bossing it at this point. She was doing her strides as well. It was all sort of unbroken strides. There was no 2-step at this point. Remember, this is 6 lengths, so we sort of had to take it in turns for the most part on this one. So normally we would relinquish control and swap it in the sort of marked off zones. It just made logical sense, because that's where you can be a little bit more forgiving about like swapping it over. And in the end, Holly had the last bit to do. I don't know how that ended up being that way, but like I say, we just had to adapt it. for that particular exercise. Now, this is the last run. Holly's starting to fall behind now a little bit. It was funny because I didn't mean to run off ahead. In fact, I wasn't really running off ahead, but she was just dropping off behind. Every time I tried to ease up on my pace, she would also ease up. So I literally had to turn around and wait for her. Right, we are on to wall balls. The last exercise. How exciting. In the Thunderdome, no less. It's great when you're sort of surrounded by all these people watching. No boxes this time. Didn't need it. Didn't want it. These actually felt really good, and we were knocking them out in clusters of 20. I probably could have knocked this up even more. I was happy to do these, and we just alternated blocks of 20. So I did three lots of 20, and Holly did 2 lots of 20. But yes, there was very little break, very little messing around. There was no pausing or stopping or taking a breath. When one was working, one was resting, and this was about as efficient as we could be. I don't know how much we could really improve on this speed. I think there was a couple of no reps in there, but not a huge amount. I think maybe only a couple. We just weren't messing around, and that's it. We're swapping back over again. That guy behind us, the marshal there, is an absolute legend. He's watching on sort of depth and height and everything. It's hard to see depth from sort of this particular camera angle because it's from the top of the Thunderdome. Yeah, and this. So I have to hit the top target, remember, and Holly hits the bottom target, and that's it. We're down to 3 reps remaining. 98, 99. Oh, that's it. Done. And we are up the finishing ramp for a nice yell, picture, and look.
Ah, we did it!
Oh, 50. Ah!
Oh my god.
That's awesome. Oh, well done, man.
Oh my god.
If that don't get a like and subscribe, I don't know what will.
So we have just finished Hyrox Mixed Doubles, me and the wife.
We did it!
Great, actually, great performance. All the exercises went really well. We didn't stay on plan all of the time. That's okay, we adapted.
We made it work.
Yeah, I think the place where we were struggling is when Holly was running. She shouted to me at one point, "I'm dizzy!" So we just took it easy on that lap, but that's okay.
It's a bit hot.
Yeah, we changed the orders a little bit, didn't we? That was okay. So now we're done.
We did it.
1 hour 15. Yay!
Better than I thought we'd do.
Okay, that's it. Manchester, we're going home. So how did you find it? First one ever.
Most brutal thing I've ever done. It was so tough. Like, you feel like you've worked really hard in training, and then you go into actual Hyrox and you realise you didn't know what hard was.
It always seems to get harder at the event, and what do you think makes it harder when you get there?
I think being quite competitive, you want to do your best, so I think you go harder in the first place. You just put more effort into it than you would in training sessions. But also, obviously, you've got a lot of people around you, so it can be quite hard to sort of find where you fit in and not just run with whatever crowd you end up in. Or sometimes you find yourself trying to keep up with people that you probably shouldn't be trying to keep up with. And the heat.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it is so hot.
We saw in that video on more than one occasion Holly having to deal with the temperature. Now Holly probably has trouble with that probably more than I do. But you could see in the background she was constantly having to try and cool herself, and certainly on the row there was an issue, wasn't there? What happened there when you sat down?
Oh, I just went really, really dizzy. I literally felt like I was going to pass out. It started on the burpee broad jumps, and I literally just found myself going woo slightly. It was that point I realised I might actually have to have a drink, despite literally talking on the way there saying, "Oh, I never have a drink when we're training.
No,
I'll be all right not stopping."
Not going to waste all that time. I think we stopped 3 times for just very quick sips, but it was conveniently placed station, so it didn't really matter a great deal.
It was necessary.
Yeah. Yeah, I think from a first person's perspective, she had a typical experience. You get there on the day, it feels harder than you trained for. A lot of environmental things that get you, the temperature, the humidity, just the extra exertion sort of the day. I think by the sled pull, you were thinking, oh gosh, it was a bit hard, a bit fast. I tried my best to sort of pace her around the runs. I would have, in an ideal world, we would have run side by side, but 2 things stopped that. One, the sheer crowds made it difficult to run side by side, and 2, Holly tucked in behind me and then stayed there. And every time I then slowed down to wait for her, she slowed and matched that pace. So, in the end, I realised I just had to keep going. It looked like I was running away from her, but I wasn't.
It felt like that at times.
But we had a really good time, and we got a 1:15 on the day, which was a good 5-10 minutes more than we'd hypothesised at maybe around 1:20. It was my favourite finale as well. We sort of smashed through wall balls at the end. A great finish and a great batch of photos. So yeah, we had a really good time. Would you ever do another one?
I'll think on it.
This is what got you in this trouble in the first place.
Never say never.
By saying that you would never do one, just made me want you to do one. Anyway, if you've got like a partner out there that says that they never want to do a Hyrox, just book them a ticket, beg for forgiveness before permission. When we finished and we hugged on the finish line, we looked at our time and we'd done well. I can't remember a feeling quite like that. Probably, I don't think we felt that good since before the children were born.
Certainly felt proud. It was a really nice moment.
And I'm going to make a promise now. The only other time that these are going to be on a Hyrox track is if Holly joins me. Okay, so you've got that in writing.
I think you'd look dashing at Glasgow's
There's absolutely
men's pro.
no fucking chance that I'm taking these to Scotland. So thank you for watching this video. Please
remember to like and subscribe.
Yeah, what she said.
I interrupted.
Let's
try again.
Thank you for watching this video. Please remember to give the channel a subscribe, and we might see you soon. All right, Mart out.